What is going on, everybody? Doing something a little bit different today. I am casting. Yes, I'm casting my first try ever at doing this, so hopefully it goes okay. So basically, I was on AOE4world.com and I saw an interesting outcome. And so I wanted to kind of take a look at the replay and just have a look for myself. And, thought this might be an interesting game to cast. So, we have Leenock as the blue HRE player spawning in on the north, and in the south we've got the dirty French. It's Viper playing as the French in the color red, and so yeah, Civ matchup that everybody knows how tough it is for the HRE, but HRE was recently buffed. They get the prelate to start the game now. They don't have to, spend 20 seconds of town center time at the beginning making the prelate. They can just go straight into making a villager, or in Leenock's case, making a scout. He did go double scout, which is a good idea as the HRE because you want to make sure that you have as much sheep as you can possibly get to get that nice, safe food eco under your town center. So anyway, yeah. With this recent change, you basically get an extra villager the entire game, and that stacks up a noticeable amount of resources over time. So we're going to take a look and see if the HRE versus French matchup feels any better than it did before. Viper, obviously a great player, so Leenock is going to have his hands full. We are here on high view, so we do have some stealth force to contend with. But yeah, really curious to see what Leenock decides to do in order to counter the early aggression that French usually shows. And Viper stealing a sheep right from under Leenock's nose there. That's not very nice, Viper. But Leenock does get a nice little haul of sheep there. Picked up some wolves along the way. Not too consequential because there's no roost this game, but still going to be able to clear up those wolves in case he wants to take that sacred site later or something. I believe those wolves were in this area. Taking a look at Viper's base here, no lumber mill just yet, so he is concentrating just on food and gold. Looks like he wants to hit feudal age as soon as he possibly can to push out that knight. Leenock, on the other hand, has got two villagers working on wood, and also keeping his prelate inspiring the food and wood villagers instead of the usual walking back and forth between wood and gold. So interesting there that he's prioritizing the wood so much, and he's going to want to get up some defensive buildings, I am sure. Leenock opting to go with the Occam Chapel. Definitely like that in the French matchup because you can build farms fairly early within the range of Occam Chapel, and gets you some nice, safe food eco, and of course those farms with the inspired villagers gather 40% faster, so that's very nice. Much safer than this hunt that's way out here. So Occam Chapel seems like a smart choice, and School of Cavalry for Viper. Unfortunately, not going to try out the Chamber of Commerce this game, but it's French. It's going to be School of Cavalry into an early night, so let's see what Leenock has to say about that. Still rallying villagers onto wood, so he clearly wants to get a lot of buildings up as soon as he hits feudal age. Does get the mill. He does have enough gold for wheelbarrow, so I would imagine that upgrade will come in as soon as the mill is complete. Yep, there it is. Good timing there, Leenock. And nice build for him so far. Like what he's doing. And we're just kind of waiting for Viper to hit feudal. Leenock going to try to harass these gold miners, disrupt the gold income as much as he possibly can. Yeah, instantaneous queuing of the knight as soon as the School of Cavalry completes. And yeah, that knight is going to be coming out and harassing Leenock very shortly. Leenock dropping down the barracks even before he hits feudal because he knows what's happening. It is French after all, so I would imagine he's going to get that spearman out very quickly. And Prelate on the way over to the chapel as he hops in there. Got two scouts here for Viper, going to be harassing the gold miners of Leenock. So annoying. And he's going to pull all of his villagers back. And pulls the scouts in range of the TC. He is going to get one of them. So, nice little pick off there for Leenock. Going with the early blacksmith there. Opts to go to the upgrade for hardened spearman before actually getting the spearman himself. Uh-oh. Not only do we have a knight, we have a couple of villagers moving across Fort Viper, as if the French weren't oppressive enough. Quickly hopping into the town center is Leenock with his food villagers, and that knight is going to take quite a bit of damage. So not going to find any damage to the villagers. No textiles for Leenock. Maybe that's something he looks to get later in the game. And he's going to get the melee damage upgrade first. So, you know, if he is able to connect his knight or a spearman with a knight, he's going to do some extra damage there. So he is going to tower his wood line. Does Leenock see this? No, not yet. Good positioning there for Viper. And we will see how Leenock deals with this when he sees it. Scout comes in range there. And that's going to draw the spearman. So, bit of a mistake by Viper there, as he's going to lose that scout. And that's also going to draw Leenock into range of the tower, so he now knows what's going on. And he's not going to chase the spearman down. And Leenock now sees the outpost on the gold as well. Viper is on stone, so he's going to be able to get arrow slits on both of these towers. Going to have to pull off the gold mine there. Spearman comes in to try to save the day. Leenock going to try to get as much gold as he possibly can before arrow slits finishes on that tower. And those knights going to continue to attempt to harass. Leenock does go stable here, by the way. So looks like he preemptively got that up to counter the typical archery range that the French player usually goes for. The tower just going to continuously shoot at the Occam Chapel, so we're going to get the alarm pinging over and over again. And let's go back to look at the whole map here. Knights coming in, not going to do much. Missed opportunity there with these villagers here. Looks like Viper is going to wrap around. And let's see if he gets any villagers. Leenock moving his spearmen into position. Are they going to get there in time? It looks like they will, but is he going to move the villagers? And that is a great reaction by Leenock. Spearmen get in position. And those knights are going to be forced away. Two of them pretty low health. And that's going to force Viper to research Chivalry, which is going to temporarily halt the knight production. So these knights are going to have to wait for that tech to come in, and then they're going to have to wait for the healing before they can do anything. Leenock going to counter with a raid of his own onto these gold villagers. No reaction yet from Viper. One villager does go down. The second one likely going to go down. It does. And it's going to force the villagers off the stone as well. So getting some nice idle time there as well. The spearmen still chasing the knights, but they're going to be forced back after encountering the archers. And knights going to be chasing the scout out of the way. Horsemen come and join the party. And I don't think Viper's not going to be able to see these spearmen. Can Leenock bait them over? He can. Oh, that's so impressive by Leenock. Lots of damage coming in. Knight's still alive. Can Leenock get himself in position? He does pick up one knight. Can he get another one? The horsemen are able to chase down the second knight. So Viper losing two knights effectively for free. Got a villager out here for some reason. Being chased down by the wolves, but Leenock able to pick off two knights there, not losing anything himself. Villager is able to escape. Leenock didn't see it. Yep, there's a tower. So the villager snuck his way over there and towered the secondary gold and stone for Leenock. So Leenock not going to be able to mine gold until he deals with one of these towers, but he is dealing, or he is amassing quite a large military in order to, do just that. It is 23 military versus 8. And typically, if it was this late in the game, you see the French on 8 military, you would think they're all knights, but that's not the case. As you can see, Viper's got 6 archers. Now, as that first tower does go down, so that frees up the wood line for Leenock, and he's going to run over here to this fortified outpost. So Viper, dumping quite a few resources into this tower rush here. Knight going to be sniffing around this hunt. Going to knock those villagers off. They're going to have to run to safety. We do have a force of archers moving over to the right side of the map, and Knight accompanying them as well. And Leenock still chasing that Knight around. This tower eventually going to go down. Going to take Leenock a little while to chew through that, as these archers and this Knight, let's see what they can find here. Knight's still running around the base, just being annoying, not really accomplishing a whole lot. That tower does go down, so Leenock will be able to get back onto gold. And here comes the Knight along with those 6 archers. Spearman does brace, roots the Knight. And Viper going to leave that Spearman alone, it looks like. Oh, nope, there we go. And Town Center Fire just going to dissuade that Knight from really doing much of anything. I believe this Knight over here was cleaned up. Yeah, I think so. I don't see it anywhere. Viper going to put down a tower on his, or Leenock, sorry, going to put down a tower, protecting his gold mine, making sure that doesn't happen again. And Viper, behind all that, did go with the second town center. So, the tower rush sort of played its course to kind of force Leenock to make military and deal with that. And he decides to go with a second town center. And Viper is ahead of Leenock in the race to Castle Age, and is going to stretch out a nice villager lead here. Leenock come down here to see if Viper has taken this hunt yet, which he has not. And so maybe he can do a little raid with these horsemen here. Villager count 49 to 40, or 50 to 41. So Viper with that second town center already starting to get a bit of a lead. Let's see if Leenock can equalize with a nice raid. Viper, the age up is coming through, and it's the Royal Institute. That is certainly a choice, considering the military situation right now. Little raid coming in there, and might lose this Knight here. And that Knight is going to go down. Looks like he did get at least one villager there. Leenock countering with a raid of his own. Not going to find anything, forcing some idle time there. But I'm very curious to see what Viper's plan is here, because normally when you see this landmark, it's a game that maybe when extended feudal, the French player's got like 20 knights out and he wants to get that royal bloodlines upgrade to really get a big advantage over their opponent in Castle Age. But Viper doesn't really have any units, so really curious to see what he does. Maybe he thinks that the economy now behind these 2 town centers, he'll be able to pump out knights and get an advantage there. I don't know, but he's really heavy into archery ranges. He's only got the School of Cavalry, no stables. The Leenock's horsemen are going to return home. He's going up with the Regnitz Cathedral. Makes a lot of sense with how much map control he's been able to establish. We'll be able to scoop up the 2 relics, no problem. So, is Viper researching anything out of this yet? No research just yet. I'm just so curious at this decision. Very, very interesting to say the least. Leenock moving his fleet of horsemen down to guard this relic. And does he have a... Okay, Regnitz is now complete. Prelates should be moving out to the relic. Here comes one of them. Where... Looks like he's going to be getting this one, so that's a good call there. As That prelate able to... Oh. Okay, he already went cha-ching on this relic up here. So, Leenock going for this one. Viper doesn't look like he has anything out to contest it. So, Leenock's just going to scoop them all up. And this one's pretty easy for him to get to as well. This one almost assuredly going to go to Viper. But Leenock could very realistically get 4 relics. Which, that's a big deal. It's going to cut into that villager lead quite a bit. Speaking of the villager lead, it is 45-71. So, you know, those increased production speed of the villagers for Viper are really starting to show through here. Does put a defensive keep here, but this is mostly for the discounts on the units produced from these buildings, I would imagine. So, going to go heavy into range of this game, it looks like. And here comes some horsemen. And Leenock's going to go see what's up. And because I think he just saw the keep and went, oh, I'm turning around. And we got some research coming in. So it is the enlistment incentive. So improves the French influence by reducing unit costs an additional, an additional 5%. So he wants the cheap units here. So interesting play coming out of Viper. Still not sure where he's going with this. Able to get 1 relic. Check out the income per minute. So Leenock ahead in gold, as you would expect with HRE. You know, not too far behind, really. All things considered. This prelate's trying to get onto the sacred site here. All right. Research something else, Viper. I want to see what you're doing. I want to know. Still not a ton of production buildings out for him. But let's look at the queue. He's got 5 Arbalétrier in the queue. So that seems to be his strategy. Another archery range coming in range of the keep. And Leenock going to clean up this tower finally, so he's going to be able to access the secondary gold. His primary gold, about 800 left, so good timing there. Leenock did indeed get 4 relics. Going to build a market there, try to balance out his eco. Needs to do something with all this extra gold. He's going to have 2 sacred sites now in control of Leenock, so even more gold income. As we have a little mass of Arbalétrier starting to form here, and a Mangonel would be a good appropriate response here. And Palace of Swabia coming up for Leenock. And he's going to be able to close that villager gap quite fast. And I'm wondering if he wants to add a siege workshop here, because the recent buff to Mangonels against ranged units seems like it's going to counter what Viper is doing, because Viper is going all in with these archery ranges. And we do have another tech being researched, reducing the reload time by the Arbalétriers by 25%. And I believe this tech was also an Arbalétrier tech. I don't recall what it was. But Viper, it looks like he's going all in on the Arbalétrier. Again, curious timing of him trying this post Mangonel patch. You know, this would have been a lot better a week ago. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Viper going to try to neutralize this sacred site, but that's probably not going to last very long. Leenock going to neutralize Vipers. And there is the siege workshop. So Leenock comes to the logical conclusion here. Viper is just producing nothing but Arbalétrier. Getting the crossbow stirrups, as well as the increased ranged damage. Villager lead 100-67, so that's going to slowly tip back in the favor of Leenock as he uses the villager printer to great effect. Cleaning up a wolf here on the right side of the map is Leenock. And an outpost coming in for Viper, so I'm going to look to try to get some vision here in the stealth forest. Got a monk out here on the sacred site. Leenock could challenge this. if we wanted to. Greased axles is the research coming in for Leenock, so he wants his siege to be able to move around the map pretty quickly. And Viper, you know, getting his towers up along the map does have a Leenock does have an elite horseman there, just kind of hanging out. And the Great Wall of Leenock starting to take form here in the center of the map, also walling in kind of this bottom right corner. Wants to wall in that sacred site as well as the big gold in the stone. Viper did take control of the neutral of the sacred site. Leenock, not, or it looks like he is going to neutralize that. So, College of Artillery coming in for the Viper. So, Leenock is going to have to watch out for the Royal Culverins and the Royal Cannon. So, interesting play here from Viper. So, I think Viper knows that the obvious response to a giant ball of Arbalétrier is siege. So, if you back that up with the Royal Culverins and just kill any opposing siege, you know, maybe this could work. But Leenock has already shown his hand with the horsemen and spearmen, which, you know, Arbalétrier aren't great against, so I don't know. It pretty much takes man-at-arms off the table, so that's something. But yeah, curious to see how this goes. So mangonels are starting to hit the field for Leenock. As, yep, there's the Royal Culverins coming out for Viper, so he wants to make sure that Leenock is not able to just melt all of his Arbalétrier with those mangonels. Sacred Site is being contested by Leenock. Looks like he's going to try to capture it, and he needs to deny this tower from going up, and it looks like he will be able to do so. Now, while we watch that villager massacre, villager count is 119 to 93, so Leenock climbing his way back in here. Here come the mangonels. Decent split by Viper there, and that's not a whole lot of damage was done. Tower does go down, and both sides just sort of retreat back to their corners here. Is Viper going to put down a tower a little bit closer to his gold. Wow. Royal Culverin one-shotting the mangonel. The second mangonel going to have to hightail it out of there. And yeah, that Viper, you know, the plan has taken shape. I'm going to build a ton of Arbalétrier and build some Royal Culverins to kill any mangonels that try to challenge me. So, a bit of theory crafting going on here, so I respect that. And interesting game to watch. I doubt we'll see this in Golden League this weekend, but you never know. You never know. Defensive keep coming up on the sacred site is Leenock, and not a whole lot of villagers building that up. And Viper looks like he wants to contest this. Gonna have to watch out for the mangonels. The Culverin trying to get into position. Is in line formation, so able to mitigate the damage somewhat. Here come the horsemen, though. Arbalétrier pops the armor buff. Horseman's going to jump on top of him. Culverin's retreating. Unsure as to why. Leenock only has one Culverin. Royal Culverin's obviously much better. Maybe he's afraid of the cannon replacement. That's probably it. But looks like Viper's going to let this keep go up. Only 2 villagers left building that. Bit of a mistake there. I think he pretty easily could have denied this. At least prevented it from going up for a few minutes until more villagers were pulled to deal with it. Leenock just chilling there with his elite horsemen. I'm going to pick off any monk that tries to come capture that. And Leenock starting to get some trebuchets now. Toggle over to Viper, and we got some Royal Cannons coming out as well. Incendiary arrows. Gonna buff up those Arbalétrier. So he's just making those Arbalétrier just super juiced. So we'll see. We'll see how it works out for him. Got a Royal Cannon. Gonna slowly work on that keep. And Leenock gonna try to roll those culverins up in order to respond to that. And that cannon gonna have to go back. So we're doing the siege dance here. Siege meta is back. Leenock is pop capped, so expect him to make a move here shortly. As Viper approaching 200 population as well. Leenock going to try to sneak a little tower up here, and that's going to get down or shot down instantly by that Royal Cannon. Culverins able to trade out one Culverin of Leenock. And here come the Horsemen. Looks like they're going to try to jump onto the siege. And there, one Culverin goes down, two Culverins go down. Going to try to jump onto the cannons now, as the Culverins of Leenock also pushing through. All of the siege now for Viper is down. Trying to prevent this keep from going up. Doesn't look like he's going to be successful. No boiling oil for Viper, as that research instantly gets queued up, but not going to have it for this fight here. And drops the keep and instantly drops, you guessed it, more archery ranges. So still tripling down on the Arbalétrier. And Viper going to be able to push this back. Got some prelates out here, Leenock does, trying to heal up his forces. Gonna lose a little bit more. Gonna watch out for the mangonels. And does lose a handful of them right there. Trebuchet's even getting in on the action. Horsemen thought about re-engaging, but Leenock does pull them back, and it looks like both of the fighters are gonna kind of go back into their own corner here and work their way back up to being, you know, full population. So checking out the resources, Viper a little bit low on gold at the moment with only one relic, so he's gonna have to move out on the map as the game progresses. So where's he mining gold from? That's a good question. That's a good question. So he's got a gold mine right here. And this big gold, Leenock did wall off, so that was a smart move by him. So gold might be Viper's weakness this game, so we'll see. Got a ton of food, so he could use the market if he has to. A guild hall sure would be nice at this moment, but not an option for him, unfortunately. Did put a keep here on the sacred site, so he's going to be able to secure that position. Arbalétrier moving forward. We're going to have to watch out for the mangonels. Good step back by Viper, being able to mitigate the damage there. Leenock is on the sacred site. Viper might have to concede this over for the time being. Trebuchet going to work on that tower. And then needs to start working on this keep here. And lots of villagers coming in here for Viper. Building up a keep and lots of stables. So, you know, maybe some horsemen is the play here. Again, interesting choice. He already has the Royal Culverins for anti-siege, but maybe he's worried about gold. You know, so he needs a cheaper option to eliminate Leenock's siege, because Leenock has shown spearmen the entire game, so he's going to be, you know, looking to protect his siege with the spearmen. But, you know, it's worth a shot, so we'll see how this works out for Viper. Just chilling in the middle here. Leenock, you are pop capped, so you know, let's do something here. Gonna take out this stone mine. Doesn't really matter since the stone has all been mined anyway. And Leenock just biding his time. I think he needs more siege. So maybe you're going to be willing to trade out some of these horsemen for it. But we'll see. Culverin did snipe a villager. As going to be trading out some culverins. The 1-for-1 trade. Let's see where these horsemen are going. As they find the opposing, they're going to be able to find Viper's new plan here. And these horsemen just going to kind of run around the base and cause as much chaos as they can. Not going to find a whole lot of villagers just yet. And there we go. We're going to be idling Viper's farm economy here. So, Leenock, what does Leenock have queued up? Mostly spears and a couple culverins. Gonna be burning down this tower. Not really of much consequence here. Is gonna run down. Missed this gold mine. That would have been big if he could have picked off some of those. But gonna be able to find a couple lumberjacks and maybe some food villagers down here. Viper has some cannoneers as well as Arbalétrier. And Leenock still, using this as an opportunity to gain a forward position with his towers. Still only the one trebuchet, so it's going to be difficult for him to push down all of Viper's fortifications right now. Here come the horsemen, and that trebuchet gets sniped out by the culverins. Leenock might lose another culverin. He does indeed. So Viper trades a handful of horsemen for 2 siege pieces, so that's a worthwhile trade. Got some horsemen moving out for Viper. And this wall was damaged at some point. I missed that. And Viper has easy access to run through. Leenock, oh, that's unfortunate. Repaired the wall, but just couldn't get it in time. And Viper's in. Going for the monastery. That's going to be minus 200 gold for Leenock if Viper does end up getting that. And doing some siege dancing here in the middle. Looks like Viper did lose 1 culverin. But Leenock has got some problems here in the base as the elite horsemen are coming through. Leenock going to be able to respond with his own, but that's a lot of horsemen back here. And Viper going to be able to find some food villagers. And big engagement here in the middle. Leenock looks like he tried to push forward, but not much happening in his favor. He's going to have to pull back his siege before the army of Viper comes on. Here comes the horseman here. And Leenock does have boiling oil research, so he's got to be careful. And those horsemen aren't going to amount to anything, but Viper still has some horsemen here in the back of Leenock's base. And Leenock rallying the spearmen towards the horsemen, so he's going to eventually be able to clear this up. Viper just going to burn another hole in the wall, even though you could just run around. But it's hard to see in the Stealth Forest. Horsemen still in the base of Leenock, but they're not going to be able to find him with the spears. Finally cleans that up. Looks like this was all cleaned up down here. So let's check the villager count. Leenock still at 124 villagers, so no terrible damage done. And Leenock going to be diving Viper's siege here. Viper going to be looking to do the same. And 1 culverin going to go down for Leenock, and doesn't look like Viper lost any siege there, so good trade for Viper, but Leenock still pushing aggressively. I'm going to try to jump onto those Arbalétrier, but it's so hard to push all these towers. Leenock is up to 2 trebs. Does need to build more. Continuing to queue up mangonels. As we got a horseman here attacking the lumberjacks. Oh my god, there's attack pings going on everywhere. There's so much happening. And Leenock forced to deal with all this that maybe Viper can take advantage and push something in the center, but yeah, here come the horsemen, gonna try to jump onto these trebuchets. One of them does go down. Gonna look to take out this culverin. Both trebuchets go down. And the culverin is gonna live. Good job repairing that by Leenock, but Good moves by Viper, running into the economy of Leenock, causing so much chaos and distracting, and then charging the middle to kill some siege weapons with your cheap horsemen. Now, Leenock, tried to push into this ball of Arbalétrier, but he is going to fall back and, return to his corner. Got a pillow fight here between these two keeps. It would be really cool if one of you guys built a cannon emplacement instead of just shooting arrows at each other. Got a cannon out, gonna try to work on this outpost, this fortified outpost, with a cannon emplacement. Whew. Things settled down a little bit here. Leenock is coming in. Here come the horsemen, and I don't see anything to protect these siege units. A couple units going to get into the range of the boiling oil, but those horsemen are going to pay for themselves right there. Leenock trying to push into Viper's army, but not so much luck happening there. Horsemen are going to be running into the base of Leenock, but Leenock in hot pursuit. And see if Viper can find any villager kills here. Turns and fights with a couple of the horsemen, and that's going to allow these to gain some distance from Leenock's horsemen. It's a very smart move there. In the middle of the map, Leenock's still trying to push this. He's got his culverins up, going to do some DPS. I don't see any anti-siege for Viper. Does have this royal culverin way back here, but see if he can get it in position. And it gets sniped up. But here come the horsemen once again. Leenock scrambling to get his spearman in position, and it looks like he's just going to get there in time. Big save there by Leenock, and it looks like both of those culverins are going to survive. And he's trying so hard to keep that culverin alive, and it looks like he is going to be successful. Viper forced to retreat. Horsemen, can they get on top of his Arbalétrier? They are. And Viper might get cleaned up here. Leenock, though, down to 91 villagers. These raids are starting to take a toll. And we have another group of horsemen for the Viper ready to strike. But Leenock trying to push down this keep. Needs more trebuchets, as the trebuchets are cleaning up the last of the towers. And so they can now work on the keep. So Leenock looks like most of his army is going to get cleaned up here. We're going to retreat with the spearmen. Still only 2 trebuchets for Leenock, none in the queue as of right now. But we have a lot of horsemen in the base of Leenock, and that's going to be a problem. And Leenock, I see a lot of dead villagers here. There's about to be a lot of dead villagers in burnt farms here. Viper, meanwhile, trying to dive these siege weapons with the horsemen. Looks like Leenock's going to be able to hold on to most of this. But the villager count is worrying. He's down to 66 villagers now. Leenock, you need to respond to this. And these horsemen, man, these lumberjacks, not responding at all. And that's going to be even more dead villagers. Down to 58 villagers is Leenock. He is going to be able to replace them pretty quickly with the villager printer, but still, you don't want to be losing that many. Viper sitting pretty with 108. Oh my good, attack pings going off everywhere. These horsemen causing a lot of damage, but Leenock did manage to get a good trap count up, and he has pushed this keep down, and he looks like he's made a switch to Lance Connects, and they are just ripping through the Arbalétrier and horsemen. So, you know, villager count may not matter here. Viper all of a sudden looks like he's in trouble. Viper does have 1 keep left, but not really on the path to his town center and the rest of the landmarks, so that can be safely ignored by Leenock. And the Lance Tank's coming in, just doing so much damage to the Arbalétrier. I think that might be it. Viper down to 31 military versus the 80 of Leenock, and most of Viper's military are horsemen in the base of Leenock, I believe. Still a couple back there. Leenock fighting under the boiling oil at the keep, but still pushing forward with those trebuchets. Viper does not look like he has anything for him. Leenock's is streaming in, and that looks like it was such a good switch for Leenock. And that's going to pay dividends. Keeps slowly going down as the trebuchets keep working on it. Got 4 trebuchets firing back here. And there's the tap out. Viper taps out. Interesting strategy by him. Mass Arbalétrier with the Royal Institute upgrades. But Leenock able to deal with all the raids and coming out victorious. Hope you enjoyed it. My first cast ever. I think it went okay. Let me know how I did. See you next time.